In the headlines, one more Edo train attack victim released. Police in Rivers burst child trafficking syndicate, rescue pregnant teenagers. Fire destroyed goods worth over 40 million naira at Potiskum Market in Yobe. And on the international scene, rights group condemns Algeria after mass death sentences. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And we begin with security, where the Edo State Police Command says one more victim from the Igweben train station abduction has been rescued. The police made this known on Tuesday, hours after it said 6 of the abductees were rescued. Over 30 intending passengers were kidnapped on Saturday afternoon when gunmen attacked a train station in Igweben in Edo State. Saturday's attack occurred months after terrorists attacked a moving train in Kaduna State on March 28, 2022. Scores of passengers were kidnapped and others killed in the dastardly act that attracted national and international outrage. Residents of Sabuwar Ungwa in Katsina metropolis decry incessant attacks, robbery and phone snatching by miscreants locally known as Kaurai. Few days ago, hoodlums numbering about 50 attacked shops and other business centers in the area where they dispossessed shop owners of their monies and properties worth thousands of naira. Abdullahi Yamadi completes the report.
Concerned about the attacks, residents are blaming some politicians for sponsoring the miscreants ahead of 2023 general elections. Some of the politicians are reportedly shielding these Kaurai against the law, a situation many residents described as worrisome. This shop owner lost his phones and other accessories worth over 500,000 naira to Kaurai attacks recently.
Duba da yanayin da suka zo mu dai ba mu tare da wani abu na da zamu ce kai tsaye a lokacin mun kare kanmu saboda abu ne wanda ya faru kwatsam ba zato ba tsammani.
I was in my shop around 8 p.m. when Kaurai numbering about 20 forced themselves into my shop and carted away phones and money. Several people sustained various degrees of injuries in the process.
So gaskiya al'amari kokarin ma guduwa ne domin ni in ceci raina da lafiyata.
The residents blame security agencies and the judiciary for not ensuring proper prosecution of suspected criminals, calling on government to save the society from total collapse.
Ina tunanin abin yana da kaman zan iya cewa siyasa na taka rawa sosai wajen ƙara iza wuta al'amarin.
I believe there is a disconnect between these miscreants and their parents. As such, there is the need for dialogue, and security agencies need to interface with both the Kaurai parents and residents to come up with measures aimed at mitigating the problem before it degenerates into another insecurity issue.
Da 'yan siyasan nan suke in an kama yaran nan, 'yan siyasa suke zuwa su yo belin yaran su dawo cikin jama'a.
Parents should be held responsible for all the problems arising from their children. As such, security operatives need to act swiftly to ensure justice is served on whoever is found wanting. The Katsina State Commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Muhammad Sanusi Bello, blamed parents for not doing enough to ensure moral upbringing of their children. The commandant is also given assurances that NSCDC will continue to discharge its constitutional responsibilities with high sense of professionalism.
In every ward, we have at least an outpost. Our boys are doing their best, and anytime if there's any problem in respect of Kaurai, they used to call. I have an operation officer here whom they used to call. We give them our numbers. Immediately if they call, we respond immediately.
Just last week, one Muhammad Jawad lost his life while about 3 others injured are responding to treatment following clash between Kauraye and police in Sabor Ungwa quarters in Katsina City. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
The Rivers State Police Command says its operatives have smashed a child trafficking syndicate and arrested 4 suspects in Iguruta and Omagwa, Obiakbo and Ikwere local government areas of the state. The command spokesperson, Grace Iringe Koko, disclosed this in a statement issued in Port Harcourt on Tuesday. The police said 10 girls, most of whom are pregnant, including teenagers found in 2 of the locations raided, were rescued. Iringe Koko said the feat followed a tip-off which the command immediately acted upon and promptly raided the 2 locations housing the victims. He added that investigations so far revealed that when the victims are delivered off with their babies, the syndicate leader would keep the babies and pay a victim the sum of 500,000 naira. The federal government has dismissed the comments credited to an official of the Independent National Electoral Commission that the 2023 general elections will face a serious threat of cancellation or postponement due to insecurity. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the position of the federal government is that security agencies are working hard to ensure peaceful conduct of the elections as scheduled.
The position of the federal government remains that the 2023 elections will be held as planned. Nothing has happened to change that position. We are aware that INEC is working with the security agencies to ensure that the elections are successfully held across the country. The security agencies have also continued to assure Nigerians that they are working tirelessly to ensure that the elections are held in a peaceful atmosphere. Therefore, there is no cause for alarm.
In the same vein, residents of Bauchi State have continued to lament the slow pace of permanent voter cards distribution in the state. Some electorates who went to collect their PVCs at the Makama Serikim Baki ward told Trust TV that they were afraid of being disenfranchised in the forthcoming elections if the process is not enhanced. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has details.
Makama Serikim Baki ward, located at Baba Sidi Primary School, comprises 172 polling units and is the largest registration area across the state. Some of the registered voters said despite queuing for about 4 hours, they could not get their PVCs, but were instead advised to fill a complaint form and come back after 2 weeks.
But the problem that we have, when it's been divided, the PVC has been divided into 2 places. That's in Kofara and here Baba Sidi. But instead of them to take it to the PVC, to each and everyone's place, polling unit, so that it can be easier for us to collect. But now we have checked, our PVC is not yet out.
INEC should have decentralized the distribution into various polling units. Since in the morning we are here, because too much crowd in the queue, I think INEC should have a rethink on the PVC distribution exercise. Baba Muhammad is among those who went to get their PVCs. He was hopeful that INEC would put modalities in place to reduce the suffering of those coming for the cards. INEC have been calling through the media that all is set for the PVC, but we discover it's untrue. I was directed to come here, Baba Sidi Primary School, because they march about 5 wards here. It's very wrong. People do waste a lot of time here. We are not happy with this distribution of permanent voter cards. We spend time longer than expected. The congestion of people here is much. Later, they will tell you fill this and that. As I'm talking to you now, my 2 legs are paining me. The INEC representative at Nanya Hardo Ward, however, expressed satisfaction with the distribution of PVC so far.
People that are coming to see their voters card, in fact, and we issued voter card at least 1,000, starting from the exercise.
They also appealed to INEC to recruit more ad hoc staff or volunteers to speed up the process in order to meet up with the stipulated time for the exercise. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Daily Trust Deputy Editor-in-Chief Suleiman has charged media organizations and citizens to properly monitor the forthcoming general elections to ensure fairness and accountability. He gave the charge while presenting a keynote paper titled 2023 Elections and the Media, How Not to Set Agenda at the 10th Press Week lecture organized by the Mass Communication Students Association of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University, Lapai in Niger State. The report.
Suleiman said Nigerian media and citizens needed to do more in holding leaders into account, explaining that many eligible voters will be disenfranchised in the forthcoming general elections by physical, social and economic insecurity facing the country if activities are not properly monitored by the media and citizens.
The most important question for Nigerian democracy right now is, what is it all for? After the votes are cast and counted, and leaders are sworn into office, what then happens afterwards? Because we keep doing this again and again and again, but there doesn't appear to be much that is changing in the lives of the people.
He observed that religious leaders have taken over the agenda-setting role of the media, and politicians now prefer talking to them because the media was not doing enough in setting agenda for the people. The deputy editor-in-chief said the media group was already leading in providing proper perspective to electoral discourse on 2023 general elections and called on other media organizations to take a cue from the company. In a paper titled Social Media, a Tool for Achieving Credible Elections, the Chief Press Secretary to Niger State Governor Mary Noboje underscored the role of social media in shaping political discourse in the country. Represented by her head, Dahir Kure, Noboje said although social media has been abused, if properly harnessed, will serve as the best platform for election monitoring.
Gatekeepers are the data decision makers who control information flow to an entire social system.
Earlier, the head of Department of Mass Communication at Tenenge Ende said the annual Press Week lecture had served as an avenue where professionals and experts were invited training of students, broadening the knowledge of students beyond classroom discussions as journalists in the making. He said media trust had led over the years in bringing new initiatives into journalism practice and called for collaboration in the area of professional talent and employment of best graduating students from the department. In Mina, Abubakar Akote, Trust TV News.
The Nigeria Immigration Service has dismissed 4 personnel and demoted 14 others for various offences. Spokesman of the NIS, DCI Tony Akuneme, disclosed this in a statement issued on Tuesday in Abuja. He said the personnel were sanctioned after they appeared before the orderly room trial committee of the service. DCI Akuneme said the move is a part of efforts to rid the service of bad eggs and in furtherance of the federal government's fight against corruption. 2 other personnel were redeployed to other locations, while 11 were issued warning letters and 1 was compulsorily retired, he had added. The statement quoted the committee as saying 11 personnel were still awaiting trial. It, however, said 4 other personnel were discharged and acquitted. Moving on to health, Lassa fever killed a Nasarawa State medical doctor, Dr. Ahmed Isaiah, at the National Hospital in Abuja. Members of the Nigerian Medical Association in Nasarawa State held a procession for the deceased in Lafia on Tuesday. NMA chairman in the state, Dr. Peter Atta, confirmed that deceased Dr. Isaiah died from Lassa fever as a post-mortem had shown. Atta lamented that the deceased had to go to work and try to carry out surgery on a patient even when he was sick, as there were only 2 medical personnel at the General Hospital, Garaku, Nasarawa State at the time. Atta added that the deceased, who graduated 5 years ago, died in his prime and left behind a wife, children, and loved ones. The NMA chairman urged Nasarawa state government to also increase hazard allowances for doctors and should immediately begin the payment of call duty allowances. Addressing the association, Dr. Egba Edogo, Chief Medical Director at the Hospital Management Board, consoled the association over the loss of Dr. Isaiah, who was an employee of the board. He noted that the deceased was highly dedicated to his duty while alive and was good to those that worked with him. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. How Abuja middlemen milk tenants dry. Do stay with us.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists: Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, former Chairman, First Bank of Nigeria; Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the Board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD; Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School; Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited. Date: Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
That's great.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of our top stories. We told you that one more Edo train attack victim released. We also told you that police in Rivers State bust child trafficking syndicate, rescue pregnant teenagers. Moving to more stories, a fire destroyed goods worth over 40 million naira at Potiskum Market in Yobe. Chairman, Traders Association in the market, Nasiru Mato, made this known to the news agency of Nigeria in Potiskum on Tuesday. He said the incident, which occurred on Sunday at about 8 p.m., lasted for over 3 hours. Mato said over 80 shops filled with bicycles, used clothes and yams were destroyed by the fire. The chairman said although the cause of the fire was yet to be determined, it had no links with electricity because traders disconnect the source of electricity in the market during closing hours, but explained that they were suspecting that night duty guards may have lit the fire to stay warm due to the cold weather. Mato said the State Emergency Management Agency had visited the market and promised to support those that lost their valuables. The chairman appealed to the state government to provide fire engines in the market to forestall future occurrence of the incident. Looking for accommodation in Abuja can be a nightmare. Apart from landlords who price their properties out of reach of tenants, agents also play a part in making things more difficult. In this report, Noel Sampson speaks to tenants on how they cough out agency fees for accommodation.
Abuja is the center of attraction as the nation's political capital. Though housing estates are everywhere in the capital city, but getting decent accommodation in Abuja is a big headache due to the role of middlemen, also known as agents. These agents introduce all kinds of fees that one is expected to pay before giving any accommodation.
The property market, first of all, I remember back, I think during the 8th Assembly, there was a rule that was passed that landlords should collect no more than 1 year rent. That has not been enforced. And so agents are still charging people 2-year rent, house rent. Then they go beyond that to also charge you things like inspection fee before you even view a property. Tenants would prefer to deal with landlords directly if they do have the choice. However, the landlords may not prefer to deal with the tenants directly if they do have a choice, for many reasons. First thing is, you don't want to get too close to a tenant that you become friends, and then getting your rents from him the next year becomes a problem because you have empathy for him. That's number one. Secondly, of course, a tenant will prefer to have a direct relationship with the landlord so that he can avoid paying the fees of agency fees and legal fees. So definitely it will be much more in favor of the tenant than in the landlord.
Some residents also list some challenges they face when trying to get the accommodation in Abuja.
There are different challenges. Number one, if you want to get a house for the first time, like to get it, especially within the Abuja metropolitan, is how to get it. We are having challenges with the landlords, at the same time with the agents.
The issue of a tenant and landlord is unbearable, because most of the time, when a tenant is looking for a house, the landlord is eager to collect its money. And we never tell the tenant that as you are going into the house that they have not settled NEPA bill, they have not settled water bill. There are many issues in the house.
The thing that is top on the challenges is the overcharging by the agents. Though if you are getting it directly from the landlord, the charging may not be as high as the agents.
Those in real estate business give recommendation on how the government can stop the activities of middlemen.
The Nigerian Justice Commission should actually look into that and have a court system that allows for these kind of cases to be quickly done.
Tenants look forward to government intervention to help stop exploration of the middlemen in getting accommodation in Abuja. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The federal government has projected that Nigeria would put an end to the importation of petroleum products in the country soon. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, noted this at the resumption of the PMB Scorecard Series 2015 to 2023, saying by the first quarter of the 2023, rehabilitation of the Port Harcourt refinery would be partly completed, while the 650,000 barrel per day capacity Dangote refinery would also be on stream. The report.
In his opening remarks, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, said the Buhari administration is leaving a petroleum sector that could serve the interests of the nation, especially with the Petroleum Industry Act 2021.
This act, which came into being after Mr. President signed the PIB into law, seeks to provide legal, governance, regulatory, and fiscal framework for the Nigerian petroleum industry.
Presenting the scorecard of the ministry, Timipre Silva said the Dangote refinery, the largest single-train refinery in the world with investment of over $25 billion United States dollars, would also be on stream before the end of 2023, in addition to several modular refinery projects in the country. Silva therefore assured Nigerians that with the combined production of the Port Harcourt refinery, Dangote refinery and the modular refineries, Nigeria would end importation of petroleum products into the country.
1,000 barrels per day refinery is being completed and is going to be started in Q1 2023 as promised. We have Dupont refinery, and some of them were listed during the presentation. Of course, Dangote refinery is not a modular refinery, it's going to be the biggest refinery, and we are also hoping that that refinery will come on stream this year. And as you also said, we believe that once Dangote refinery comes on stream and our refineries that are being rehabilitated comes on stream, then of course we will no longer be depending on imported products to keep this country wet.
On the debate of fuel subsidy removal, the minister says the huge fund being spent on subsidy could be deployed to other developmental projects that would attract more investment in the petroleum sector and impact positively on many Nigerians. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, away from Nigeria, Amnesty International has urged Algeria to annul death penalties against dozens of people over the lynching of a man falsely accused of starting deadly forest fires. A court in November sentenced 49 people to death for the 2021 lynching of 38-year-old Jamil Ben Ismail outside a police station in the Tizi Ouzou region. According to Amnesty, a further 5 people, including a woman, received death sentences in absentia. The sentences are unlikely to be carried out as the North African country has maintained a moratorium on capital punishment since 1993. Amnesty Regional Deputy Head Amna Guleli on Monday said the hearings were marred by fair trial violations as well as claims of torture, while at least 6 of those sentenced were prosecuted due to their political affiliations. And finally, in sports, Aston Villa have agreed to a fee with Real Betis, believed to be around 12.5 million euros for Alex Moreno. The left back is due to fly to Birmingham on Wednesday to undergo a medical and discuss personal terms. The 29-year-old had started 14 out of Betis's 15 La Liga games this season and has made 122 appearances for the club since joining from Rayo Vallecano in 2019. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.